Welcome to episode 1 of our new series. So it's going to be 4 parts and it's going to be how to lose fat. So I'm going to break everything down in 4 parts so that way it's not so much to consume at one time. Okay, so this first video is going to be all about calories, food quality, how not to track, all that stuff, how to set up your numbers so that way you can lose fat and things like that. Now make sure you stick around to the end because at the end I'm going to show you what I'm talking about when I say food quality. I'm going to literally show you food that I have in my pantry that's ultra processed but still appears healthy versus food that is not processed, whole, natural foods. And those are the foods that we're going to want to stick with most of, but make sure you stick around to the end for that. So the first thing we're going to just get out of the way is calories, where to set your calories. So anytime we want to lose weight, we always think, let's cut those suckers, right? Cut calories. And then we want to cut them very aggressively because we want this to go as fast as possible. That is not what I want you to do. Mindset before you even start this, if you decide to start this, that this is not going to be a quick thing. This is going to take a very long time. This is going to be a total lifestyle. Shift the way the things that I eat, shift the way that I eat, shift the way that I think about food. So I want you to first go into it with those expectations rather than going into it with the expectations of in 30 days I'm going to lose 5 pounds, because you can lose a pound a week if you diet right. So that's the first thing. So let's get into calories. Now, should you go into maintenance calories or should you go into a deficit? I suggest going into maintenance first. If no matter really where you are, it's really going to benefit everybody. If you're in a position where you're trying to lose 30, 40, or 50 pounds, or even 20 pounds, but you've been trying to lose the same weight for a very long time, chances are that your metabolism isn't really on your side, especially if you're the type of person that you feel like you already eat very little, or you feel that you do really well and you can lose weight, but then you have one meal and you feel like it sticks to you, or you feel like you immediately get put on fat, put on weight. Then that's your metabolism telling you that's not really running as effectively and efficiently as it should. So going into maintenance calories is really the best option for pretty much everybody, honestly, because you need to learn what your body runs on, what the baseline is. So first you need to learn that before you can even go into a proper deficit, because you're not even really sure what to cut from. So maintenance calories, and I know that seems kind of backwards because you're trying to lose weight, so why would I want maintenance calories? But the other videos are going to explain how this is going to work and how you're still going to lose weight even if you're at maintenance calories. So trust me when I say start with maintenance calories. This is already a stressful time when we're dieting. It already heightens our stress a little bit. Just not even if there are any extra stressors in our life, but just in general, being on a diet stresses out our bodies anyways and our minds a little bit. So that's the last thing we want to do, is go into this stressed. So you need to be at maintenance calories is the best option. So how are you going to determine that? Literally just Google maintenance calorie calculator and it's going to spit out a number for you. It's going to take your height, your weight, and it's going to give you your basic metabolic rate, what it should be for that height and weight. But then it's also going to take your activity level into consideration. So you can put what your activity level currently is. Not active at all, kind of active. I think it's like really active or very active. I don't know. It has all the things. It'll walk you through it. And you pick the right activity level for you, and then it's going to spit out this number. Now, that's going to be a starting point for you. So what you're going to want to do is, now I'm going to get into tracking or not tracking later. You don't have to track to be successful at this, but you do need to first see what those maintenance calories are going to be, and you are going to need to track. There's no other way to know that. If it's going to spit you out a number for 2,000 calories, how are you going to know you're eating 2,000 calories in one day if you're not tracking it? So I know tracking can take extra time. It's annoying. It can cause people a lot of stress. And if you are the type that obsesses over things, it can trigger that. So I just want you to be very careful. Make the best decisions for you. I'm going to go into other ways that you can do this without tracking. So if tracking triggers you or causes bad behaviors like disordered eating type things, don't track. But if that's not a thing for you and you just don't like tracking because it's annoying, then you need to track. So just for a few weeks, just to make sure that you are at maintenance. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that number and then you're going to put it into MyFitnessPal, wherever you're using to track, and you're going to eat those calories every single day for a week. You're going to weigh yourself. Did you lose weight? Did you gain weight? Now, if the scale goes up a couple of pounds, that could be water weight. That's fine. A few pound ranges. But then another week goes by and you gain weight again, or you lose weight again, then that means the calories are either too low or they're too high. So then you just want to manipulate them a little bit. All of the calorie calculators that we have online are all estimates. So this is just how you have to do it. It takes a few weeks, but that's okay, because like I said, we're going into it with the mindset of this is going to take a while. This is going to be some long-term lifestyle stuff. So now that you have your maintenance calories, you've tracked them for a few weeks consistently, you're on the right track. So this is a couple things to just make sure you're also considering as you go through this process. So the quality of your food, and that's what I'm going to show you as well downstairs when I talk about quality of food. So a protein bar, although it's deemed like healthy, is not going to have the same essential amino acids that your body needs. It's not going to trigger that fullness, like the satiety level that chicken breast would do. So it could be the same amount of calories, the same amount of protein, a chicken breast 20 grams of protein, or a protein bar 20 grams of protein. You're looking at it and it seems the same because the same calories and it's the same protein, yes, but you're not taking the other things into consideration as far as fullness. Goal is to be as full as possible. You don't want to be starving during this process. And so that's why quality of food is really going to matter. So you're going to want to focus on just the food that's going to keep you fuller longer. So we know protein, we know fruits and vegetables, fiber, good carb sources, like all natural whole foods really is what you want to stick with. Quality of your food is going to be very, very important on how successful you are and how full you can stay throughout this process. Now, track or don't track. I already kind of touched on that. So you already know the reasons why I say do track or don't track. Now, if you don't want to track, there are a few different ways that you can go about this. Inside it has a 3 meals, 2 snacks approach, and that seems to work really, really well for a lot of people who don't want to track or tracking maybe triggers you. So basically you just have a regular size plate and you have 3 full meals a day. You don't want to make your plate, obviously, you don't want a plate full of Cheetos, but you want your plate to have like carbs, vegetables. 3 plates a day, and then you can have 2 snacks. So 2 snacks maybe fit in like the palm of your hand, like an apple or a yogurt or I don't know, a shake, whatever you want to do. So that's a really good method that'll keep you within calories. Like really hard to overeat if you're focusing on 3 full meals and 2 snacks a day, 2 healthy snacks. So that's one option. Now you can also just opt to track only your protein. So we already know the macros are important. It's going to keep you full longer. It's going to build muscle, maintain muscle, repair muscle. It's going to just so many things for our bodies. So we want to prioritize that. So that's another way that you could go about it. If you don't want to track everything and it just stresses you out too much, then tracking protein is a really good way to gauge where your calories are as well. Also, if you're hitting 1 gram per pound of lean body weight, so what that means is basically, use myself, so I'm 130 pounds and I aim for about 120 to 130 pounds of protein a day. So that's kind of on the high end just because I like to eat protein. I like to have higher protein, but you can hit anywhere between like 8 to 1 gram per pound of lean body weight. When I say lean body weight, that's because if you are very overweight, like 50 plus pounds to lose, then you're not going to want to use your body weight. You're not going to want to use that. That's going to be way too much protein. So you're kind of estimate what your lean body weight is, or just use like your body weight. So if you weigh 100 pounds and your goal is to get to 175, then you could aim for between like 150 to 175 grams of protein a day. Super simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It doesn't need to be exact. That's another way that you could do it. You could just track protein. And another thing that you could do is not track anything at all, but just focus on only eating whole foods. Like cut out all kinds of processed foods in general. When we eat processed foods, there's a research study done on this that we actually eat up to 500 to 600 more calories a day when we're eating processed foods as opposed to like whole, like one types of foods, like rice, chicken, broccoli, just ingredient type foods, just all natural whole foods. So that's what you do. So that's going to be, I would say, a little bit harder. I mean, for me, because I do like some of the processed foods that are out there. And then if you want to go that route though, it's a really great way to start, and it'll just kind of cleanse you all that crap that's in processed foods. So that's a really good way to go about it too. And there's absolutely no way that you can overeat when you're eating whole, like natural foods, processed, and just focusing on your protein intake, because the fullness of like fruits and the fiber and the protein is going to keep you so full that it's going to be very, very, very overeat. And yeah, so that's another really, really good way to do it, is just cut out all processed and just focus on eating whole foods only if you don't want to track. And you don't need to find like those diet hacks, these little like fake foods we've engineered. They're not actually real foods. All these fake foods that we've engineered, you don't need to focus on buying those things. One, they're just so much more expensive for no reason, just because they're hacked foods, but you're going to get so much more, especially in the beginning. Later on, you can start incorporating all these things, but in the beginning, it's just so important to train yourself to just eat all natural, whole natural, just foods as much as you possibly can to really change your palate. That's what you're doing, because eating things like candy or Skittles, strawberries is gonna taste weak to you. You know, they're not very good. But once you condition yourself to like, this is what really sweet tastes, then they're gonna start tasting sweeter and you're gonna be able to change your palate. So try to filter out all of those like snack hacky foods we have and just focus on just eating whole foods. Track or don't track, it's totally up to you, but you have to be in some way, shape, or form like conscious of what you're doing. You can't just say tracking stresses me out, tracking makes me, you know, go into behavior, which all of that is valid, but then you can't just throw in the towel and say there's nothing else for me to do. No, there's tons of things to do. You can try the 3 meals, 2 snacks method. You can try tracking only your protein, make sure you hit that target, or you can just focus on eating only whole foods and cut out all processed foods, and that's going to automatically kind of put your calories would be basically. I'm gonna go down now and show you the foods that I was talking about that are ultra processed, but they appear to be healthy versus the whole foods that I'm trying to steer you towards, okay? So, be back in a flash. Welcome to my kitchen. So I'm gonna go through a couple things that I have in my pantry that are considered processed but come off as healthy versus real whole foods that are the things that you should be focusing on, okay? So Quest bars, we already know these are so good and the macros are good, but they're really, you don't want to fill your day with them. Like you don't want to be eating multiple a day, maybe one a day, if that. Like I honestly use it for, I'm on the go, I'm going grocery shopping, I don't want to be starving because this is going to keep me full for approximately 32 minutes. You know, like this has 200 calories and 21 protein. It's not going to keep me full if I had, you know, 200 calories and 20 grams of chicken. Like it's just not going to do it. So that's why they're great for just convenience on the go. If you want to have a little sweet treat and you don't want to eat like an ice cream bar, better food. Okay, these look so healthy, right? These are great convenience. They have like whole grains in them. So it's tiny. This is 2 fig bars in here, okay? It's teeny tiny, okay? And it's gonna keep you full for less than this is gonna keep you full because this has only 3 grams of protein in it. This has nothing in it, no protein. So the Quest bar is actually gonna keep you fuller, but again, this just comes off as healthy, but this is still processed food. This is still processed food. Just because it's not potato chips or Oreos doesn't mean it's not processed. Same thing as this. These are delicious. And these are all to have like in very small moderation, but this should be how you eat. You know, this is how you eat. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so great. These are processed food just because it does not make it not processed, okay? So now I wanna go through some of the whole foods. So this is what the majority of your food should be coming from, okay? Let me go get the rice and potatoes. So, potatoes. I think 1 potato is like 120 calories, if that, which is less than this. How full do you think you're gonna be eating an entire potato? First of all, there's no way. If somebody made you sit down and eat 2 whole baked plain potatoes, you couldn't do it. But I bet you could eat a whole bag of Lay's potato chips. Yeah, same. So that's just the difference. Food is meant to keep us full and satisfied and feed our bodies and fuel our bodies. The other food is engineered in the lab and it's literally meant to make us eat as much as possible. That's all. Okay, so things like rice, potatoes, fruit, obviously, like all of this is gonna have fiber, vitamins, all those micronutrients that our bodies need and thrive on. It's gonna give you better energy. It's just gonna make you sleep better. It's gonna do all the amazing things that your body needs to do. Protein, obviously. So egg whites, real eggs, those are gonna be much better options than these are. These are great, convenience, on the go, you know, whatever, every now and then, but what our day-to-day, most of the meals should look like. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, be sure to come back for part 2.